And the Chicago. The All Blacks and the Eagles on Soldier Field. And before we play, we want to honor both nations. We now turn it over to Soldier Field public address announcer Jim Reban.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise, remove your caps for the singing of the national anthems. Today's colors are presented by the Training Support Center, Great Lakes Honor Guard, performing New Zealand's anthem, Solo Mio.
God of nations at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. Pacific's triple star, from the shafts of strife and war, make her praises heard. Lord, defend New Zealand.
Let's hear it for Solo Mio. Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform the Star Spangled Banner, please welcome from the Chicago Blackhawks, Jim Corneliuson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Two beautiful renditions of both nations' national anthems. First, the Kiwis of New Zealand, and then the Star-Spangled Banner. And now, for what many people, whether they're fans of the All Blacks or not, are waiting for, here is the haka. Brian, is there anything more intimidating than facing off with the All Blacks in New Zealand and have to stare down the haka?
Well, I think it's something you always dream of as a rugby player, and it doesn't matter which country you're from. If you grow up in New Zealand, you dream of being an All Black, and if you grow up playing rugby anywhere else in the world, you dream of playing against the All Blacks. And today, some dreams coming true on this field in Soldier Field.
Well, 3 times the Americans have played New Zealand. It has not gone real well. In fact, they have yet to put a try on the board. So getting a try in this matchup will be huge. We're getting set for kickoff. Before we do that, we send it down to the field one more time, and we check in with Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, Mike Tolkien gave his team a very inspired speech before the game. He said, we've heard from people around the world that we would be intimidated by the All Blacks, that we would be scared of the haka. He says, surely those people do not know the American spirit. Surely we may lack experience, we may lack expertise and the skills, but we are never short on confidence and accepting the battle and the challenge. That's just the American way. He said, whatever this match brings, we're going to bring it today, boys.
Yeah, no question about it. Thank you, Marty. Brian, you've been on the field. You've been a captain for Team USA. What do they need to do as we get set to play the game here at Soldier Field to have some form of success here on this match today?
Well, there's a balance that needs to happen. And a lot of that is mental energy and how you spend it. You got to switch on. Every play, you need to have your eyes up and you need to play smartly, but you also need to bring the heat today. A lot of passion is going to come from those white jerseys, and this should be a great half of rugby.
40-minute halves. Number 10, Aaron Cruden out of Manawatu, the 25-year-old, will get things going, and we're underway in Soldier Field. Brian, key indicators you're looking for early in this game.
Well, tackling. It's got to be first up tackles all the time, as we see Israel Dag go up for his first high ball and Petrie testing him off what's known as the box kick.
40-minute halves in the game of rugby 15s. You cannot pass the ball forward, but you can lateral it and kick to move the ball forward, and as well as running, and no one runs as well as the All Blacks. Big hitting early on.
Good hit there by Hayden Smith, wearing the number 5.
Big man on the outsides, number 3, Charlie Faumuina.
Will they throw that dummy pass, a man behind?
And a big run up the middle as number 12, Sonny Bill Williams, gets a hold of it.
Numbers on the outside.
Looking for an early try. Remember, try is worth 5 points in the game of rugby, and that ball goes into touch, goes out of bounds.
Smart play there by Scott Lavala, wearing number 7 for the United States. Sees the ball on the ground and is able to kick it into touch and slow this thing down. An early break by Sonny Bill Williams, and that's got to be good for Coach Steve Hansen.
This is a line out, another way to restart the game. Ball thrown in from the side, down a tunnel. It has to travel down the middle of that tunnel. Get an idea of just how strong the All Blacks are as they get into a situation like this, Brian. The Americans may outweigh them when they get into a scrum situation, but the All Blacks are so powerful.
Well, they think they're going to be able to test the forwards up front, and they're just trying to drive this, what's called a maul. The ball is standing up.
14, Corey Jane. Jane has to kick it back inside to Israel Dag. Boom.
Oh, great hit there. Double team in the tackle by Suniula. And number 8, Danny Barrett.
And once again, this is where the All Blacks will show their patience. If it's not there, they reset and hear the ball on the ground. Could be an early break for Team USA, and it stays with the All Blacks.
Well, those first up tackles, and an early knock on. We're going to see a scrum. Ball was knocked on. It means it went forward from the hand of an All Black player. The United States deep in its own territory, but it will get the feed for this very important first scrum, and you're about to see the forwards locking horns.
Wait. 10. There's the mark.
So a penalty actually is going to give the ball back to the All Blacks, and on the outside, Chris passing and the downward pressure. And is it our first try? And Craig Joubert, the head referee, is going to talk to his assistant and make sure that there was downward pressures across the line.
Well, that signal is for touch the paint on the touchline first. Looked like a clear grounding, and I think Nathan Harris is going to get his first drive for the All Blacks.
Two years of age, and we wait for the official word. Similar to American football, as they do a review from up above, and they'll get a look and see just exactly where the downward pressure was applied. As Brian pointed out, did his foot touch the white line? And from that angle, Brian, it looked like it was clearly a clean grounding.
Well, again, here's what the TMO is going to look for is, did the ball touch ground before or after his feet went out of bounds? And it looks like the ball went first. Right there is the touchdown. That's a good try. That's going to be 5 points for New Zealand.
Now, if there is a little silver lining to this for Team USA, remember, 5 points for the try, 2 points for the conversion, but the ball comes straight out from where the downward pressure was applied. So, Brian, this will be a tricky kick as the one continues to swirl around at Soldier Field.
Andrew, sorry, what are we waiting for? I've seen the ball grounded and I don't think it's in touch. Am I good to order a try?
And there's another look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, thanks.
The try is awarded. You see the referee's hand. Craig Joubert puts his hand up, signifying the try, and now it's a conversion kick. Well, it looked like the knock-on came after a offsides penalty was being played by the referee, and that's why the All Blacks were able to tap it and go. When they have the opportunity, you'll see them push the game and the tempo.
Starts his run up his approach.
And the 2-point conversion falls short, so it's 5-0. New Zealand on top of Team USA 3 minutes into this one in a 40-minute half. Brian, it looked like the Americans were going to get a nice little break there. And it was not to be, and now...
Well, what happened was that Captain Todd Clever saw the kicker approach the ball and came up to try to charge it down or to block the kick or to distract the kicker. The referee is going to let him have another slice.
And this one falls short as well. So the captain, Todd Clever, approached the ball when the player for the All Blacks approached the ball.
Andrew,
then he backed off to re-kick it again.
Let's just make a quick decision. Let's make a quick decision where possible. Nice and fast.
And you hear Craig Joubert, our official from South Africa, who has 53 referee assignments under his belt. And the All Blacks now get the ball as they kicked off to start this game, and the Americans they've got to find something, Brian, here to get a little spark, maybe catch a break.
Well, they're going to get the ball again. Here comes There's Adam Siddle going to catch this ball, and the U.S. across halfway and needs.
Key passing, key running right there as Andrew Suniola, who we talked about in the open, meets up with two All Black jerseys. And you look at New Zealand, the way they play, Phil Teal getting a shot at them, just so organized. They don't make the mental mistakes.
Well, there's one right there, and that ball trying to find touch. Adam Siddle with the ball in hand, and a great offload by Israel Dagg.
Oh. Could have turned disastrous for Team USA, but the ball is knocked on. They play advantage. Team USA comes away with it.
Non-black off your feet.
So a penalty going the way of the United States. Number 9, TJ Perenara, the scrum half for New Zealand, off their feet. We got an injured All Black on the field. It looks like the try scored Nathan Harris, in fact.
Don't go yelling at me at every move. I'll decide when I use it, okay?
And this is the interesting thing about rugby is they will play on with an injury on the field. Keep an eye on Harris. He kind of gets folded with a leg trapped under there on the ankle.
Well, there's a mental mistake there by the United States, trying to get a lot of territory, and instead of getting a line out across the halfway line, Israel Dagg's able to manage to keep that ball in play, and there's a rumble by Famuina.
Famuina, big man, goes 6 feet, 280.
Offside.
Touch and get a line out deep inside All Black territory. The United States gets away with one there, a knock on and accidental offsides, and now Siddle will make sure that this ball finds touch.
As they attend to the right ankle of Nathan Harris on the pitch as the game continues on. So now we'll have our second line out of the match.
Well, there's some big units in this USA forward pack. Some targets for hooker Phil Teal. They should be able to do some damage in the line out. Well, Siddle today, when he's kicking into touch, needs to find that line. In fact, he needs to find the stands every time. Kick it to a spectator. Do not let these All Blacks speed the game up.
Well, the weather conditions have improved vastly over what we saw yesterday during both teams' walkthroughs here at Soldier Field. It was snowy, it was windy. Day on a hole in Chicago was an absolute mess as waves from Lake Michigan were crashing over into Lakeshore Drive, having to shut it down for a time. And big doing on here in this weekend of the town of Chicago, with the Chicago Bulls hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers last night.
First line out for the United States, a clean throw. Lavala goes up for it. Well, a stutter stepping Samu Manoa is not the same as a full charging Samu Manoa, and that needs to be a little bit more pace coming into his hands.
Seamus Kelly gets his first touch of the ball. Todd Clever, the captain for Team USA, wearing jersey number 6. Big man is number 5, Hayden Smith. He goes 6'7", 235, and he runs into another black jersey and comes to an absolute standstill.
Seamus Kelly on the inside. The United States playing some adventurous rugby, and that's one of the things Coach Tolkien said that they had to do today. As we see Eric Fry with a little bit of rumble across the 22-meter line.
Big opportunity for the Americans. Will they get their first try in a history against the All Blacks? Must take care of the ball here. Nothing doing there.
And if the closer you get to that line, the harder it gets to get across it. Petrie takes a dart on his own. They got to be clean here. One of the things that the United States has done in high pressure situations like this, they need to put some phases together here.
That's a lot of mass in that pile right now as the Americans try to come away with it. They do. Do they have the numbers on the outside? Do they have the speed? Quick footwork, and there's plenty of All Blacks there to shut it down.
Look how quickly
going to reverse it to the other side. They're inside the 5-meter mark, trying to push forward. USA trying to get their first try ever against the All Blacks of New Zealand.
is when the forwards need to organize themselves.
Well, you talk about sure tackling, Brian. These are one-on-one open field tackles, and they are definitely sure.
Well, he just got tackled by the ankles there, and if he was able to slip that tackle, it might have been try time for the United States. A lot of work for these.
Unable to punch it forward. Nice clean out there. The Americans looking for something on the outside now. Suniula shut down and pushed back.
Well, it'll be a penalty. Well, at least the United States has an opportunity for points here. And if you are the captain, Todd Clever, you got to start pointing at the sticks. Get points while you can.
All right, Brian, explain the penalty kick option that they do have, Team USA.
Well, that's what they're going to elect to do. So the options here, a penalty offsides against #1 for the All Blacks, Joe Moody. And they'll play that. They will tickle that offside lines all day long, and they'll come up, and they come up very quick, and the referee sees them offsides there. Now, this should be automatic from the foot of Adam Siddall.
I'm not talking again.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
0.
Yeah, gotcha.
Thanks.
Having a word with Mike Petrie.
Well, this is the second time he's talked to Petrie down here inside their own house. Now it's only a 2-point deficit.
So they don't come away with their first try against the All Black, but as Brian pointed out, they're coming away with points. 5-3, and we are 11 minutes into this one. It really has been a one-sided affair. You go back to 1913, 1980, and 1991, and All Blacks usually hovering around 50 points, and there you see it, just picking up those penalty kicks.
That's lucky to get this ball back. There's Seamus Kelly having a rumble. Might be a kicking opportunity if they can get the ball behind Corey Jane. Suniula has a go.
Chris Wiles on the right-hand side for Team USA out of Stamford, Connecticut, the fullback and center, unable to go. So now the Americans will reverse the field, try to punch it up there. That's Phil Teal right in the heart of it. But Brian, you talk about how quickly the All Blacks get to the ball. Not just one, but usually two guys on the tackle.
Oh, ball not held. Yeah, exactly. You can't stutter step. You're going to get double tackled by the All Blacks here. I like how the United States is running at him.
Staying to a nice catch and hold on there as Team USA had a potential for a knock on and a turnover to the All Blacks.
Well, across All Black territory once again. Oh, great offload, Phil Teal from Samu Manoa.
Brett Thompson now getting his first touch. Young man out of the University of Arizona playing for Team USA.
Well, that's unlucky. I think it might have been a quick whistle.
Scott Lavala having a word with the official, Craig Jobert.
Well, we've already seen, by the way, a couple substitutions.
And the All Blacks will kick it into touch, so a line out coming.
So Nathan Harris just came up a little bit gingerly in the first few minutes. He's been replaced by Kevin Melamu, wearing the number 16. The 5th all-time leading caps winner in international rugby history, Melamu, with the ball in hand right now, and the throw goes to Thrush.
And there's Nathan Harris on the sideline with that ankle iced. He was injured in the first 7 minutes of this matchup as we approach 13 and a half. Brian, if there is one shining spot for Team USA right now as the All Blacks are on the attack once again, is that they have certainly had time of possession. And Americans will take over deep inside their own territory after that kick attempt by the Kiwis.
Inside.
And again, smartly kicked into touch by Mike Petrie.
Well, and a really, really wise move by Petrie. He looks at the referee. He says, am I inside the 22 or outside the 22? Because if he was outside the 22, the ball would come back to where he kicked it for the All Blacks. Instead, it crosses the halfway line. Some relief for the U.S.
All Blacks control the line out big, running up the middle, and that's big number 12, Sonny Bill Williams, 6'3", 243.
Dangerous on the outside there, and a flip pass. Great job by Dag.
Corey Jane off and running, shows him the ball, dummy, and it's a try for the All Blacks.
The classic backhanded flip by Israel Dag, and this is what makes the All Blacks different. As you're being tackled, to be able to distribute that ball, and there Blaine Scully falls for a little bit of that dummy, the in and out move. Watch Dag. This is amazing. He goes through, still keeps the ball available for Corey Jane, and now Jane with the in and the out, a fend off of Blaine Scully's nose, and across the line he goes. They're so dangerous. It can happen so quickly, but it has to do with that flick pass and keeping the ball available in contact. That offload game is something that the New Zealand All Blacks do better than any team in the world.
New Zealand picking up their second try of the match. That's 5 more points. Corey Jane puts the downward pressure there. The 31-year-old from Wellington, New Zealand, able to get it done. So Team USA finds themselves in a hole 10-3 after seizing the momentum on the penalty kick and picking up the 3 points. And now the 2-point conversion from, again, another precarious angle. But as we saw yesterday in practice during the wind, Brian, didn't seem to bother the All Blacks at all.
One of the things the United States has to work towards, and the reason why the All Blacks are so good, is we see the kick going up.
Threads it through.
Beauty by Aaron Cruden. And you can tell already, Todd, that sometimes it just seems like the All Blacks have an extra jersey out on the field, and it's because of their IQ in rugby. They know where the ball's going. They resource where the ball's going to go with more people than the other side does. And that's why the U.S. looks a little stretched sometimes. If you're missing one tackle, and that's going to create a try opportunity, and the U.S. is in that situation already, then it makes for a long day. Whereas if the All Blacks miss one tackle, they usually have someone who can cover. Oh, Blaine Scully, great job off the kickoff.
So Scully, who played his high school rugby at Jesuit High School in Sacramento and then went on to California where he picked up a national championship for the Cal Bears, and a player down, number 14, Blaine Scully, who took the hit. And watch this, beautiful play.
Scully going up in Europe, playing with the Leicester Tigers because of how bravely he goes up after that ball. Well, the United States looks like they're going to trust Adam Siddle's boot one more time for a 3-pointer. I tell you what, I don't know if the U.S. goes for a line out here and tries to punch one across. I think they get the crowd. Is you got to go for points when you have the opportunity, but you know, against the All Blacks, you got to dot a try down. You want this crowd, you want to get jacked up for this game, punch one into the corner and then have a rumble.
So Siddle will line this up from where the penalty occurred. As we mentioned, wind has certainly died down from what it was yesterday and this morning. So here's the penalty kick for Team USA. So another 3. They don't get the all-elusive try that the Americans have yet to put up on the All Blacks, but 3 more points. So now it's a 12-6 match.
It's a beautiful strike there. Normally Chris Wiles, the left-footed kicker, the fullback for the United States, takes the kicking duties. That's a nod to the confidence of Adam Siddle. Been out for about 6 months with some concussion issues and is finally back and playing really well in the last few games up in Canada.
Last minute reversal, Aaron Cruden sends it in.
Great take by Scott. Has come in.
Tui Samoa, one of the older players for Team USA at 34 years young out of San Diego, but he does go 6'4", 260, so he certainly is well built for this game.
Yeah, see how close they are to offsides as they come up so quick off the mark. And Todd, Danny Barrett left this game after just a few minutes, which is why Tui Samoa is in.
Oh, beautiful pass to the inside, and Corey Jane, who already has one try there. High tackle, but it's play on as Israel Dag is taken down.
Numbers on the inside.
No problem, another try. Patrick Tuipulotu for the All Blacks.
But it's floodgates open, and Todd, it's just as I said before. If you miss one tackle, this is what happens.
The assist, the young man out of Wellington who followed the play and had support there. Corey Jane went right up the middle of the U.S. defense.
Well, one of the things too, and we talked earlier about how it just seemed like there was always an extra black jersey. One of the things that the All Blacks do is that they keep the ball available in contact. So it's not just making a tackle, it's how you tackle and how you dominate in that area.
No white jerseys within 5 yards as Patrick Tuipulotu, 21 years of age, 6'6", 265. The man can certainly rumble, and there's your downward pressure on the ball. That's 5 more points. The 2-point conversion we saw just a second ago was up and good, so it's now a 19-6, which was 12-6 just less than 90 seconds ago, Brian. As you said, the floodgates absolutely opened on that last possession for the All Blacks. After the kick, New Zealand comes away with it. And once again, back into U.S. territory.
Yep. Charles Piutau, we've seen him on the 7 scene, but he is a dangerous man with just a little bit of space in front of him. And that pass is forward. Touch judge didn't see it that way.
Sonny Bill Williams answers back, and 5 more points.
Well, I think that the assistant referee on the sideline there misses this call. I think this is a forward pass. Right here. Close at least. Ryan Crotty to Sonny Bill. And Sonny Bill Williams, first game back for the All Blacks in a couple of years. Dots one down. And just like that,
in a matter of 90 seconds, they have put up 12 points, which was a 12-6 match, is now a 24-6 match with a relatively easy conversion coming for
space come from, and why is it that the United States hasn't been able to guard that space?
Running in support, something the All Blacks do better than any other country in the world. And the recipient, Sonny Bill Williams, his wife Alana back home, and she is expecting their child any day, but Sonny Bill probably not going to make it back because they move on to England, Scotland, and Wales after their matchup here in Chicago. For more on Sonny Bill, we now check in with Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, speaking of the baby, Sonny Bill plans to Skype as best he can to watch the birth, but he said he's certainly excited to be back with the All Blacks, but probably his dream come true was last night. He grew up a huge Chicago Bulls fan, and more specifically a Michael Jordan fan. Took his picture in front of the statue last night, went to the game. He told me this morning, that was my dream come true. I'm glad to be back with the All Blacks, but it was so cool to see the Bulls play at the United Center.
Yeah, that was a hard ticket to get, Brian, so you got to be on the All Blacks party list to get into that. Unfortunately, the Bulls go down in defeat to another 23, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and their captain, LeBron James. But a great matchup. And we talk about just how good this All Black team is, Brian. I don't think you can really refer to them as maybe the Chicago Bulls of the late 90s. This is the dream team. This is how good they are. Man comes free. It's number 10, Adam Siddle.
Got to look for options there. Good job by Chris Wiles to cut back inside.
Pounding away the Americans, who own time of possession for the first 10 minutes of this match. That ball tipped up in the air, stays with the Eagles.
And working their way across once again near the 22, the All Blacks. There should be space here. There's numbers out wide, but Petrie doesn't recognize it. Ball should have gone.
Nice run there by Samu Manoa.
Clever running one of those support lines, but couldn't find Manoa's eyes.
Not very often that you're going to fool the All Blacks with a dummy. And Samu Manoa, offense quickly turns to defense, and on the attempted kick, he's able to knock it down. Manoa is a big man, 6'6", 269.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit modest. I think he's actually a little bit bigger than that. Oh. The big charge down there, and now the All Blacks working from inside their 5-meter line. You got to take a chance to the United States and try to time this throw by Kevin Mailamu. All Blacks are going to go to the short line out. That means the safety valve, which is the first man that they can possibly throw to. Looks like Kieran Reid wearing the number 8 jersey. And indeed it goes to Reid.
Find a way to advance the ball up, and this one kicked forward but not into touch. So the Americans now scanning the field. They'll kick this forward.
Brett Thompson's onside. It'll be a battle for this ball, and Cruden gets taken down by Thompson. Thompson staying on the ground.
Once again, the run happening on the outside. Numbers for the All Blacks.
All Blacks, as we see Charles Piutau crosses the line. Watch Scully comes up wearing the number 14. One of the things that can cost you.
So as Piutau able to dot the ball down, 6'1", 209, the 23-year-old out of Auckland, picking up 5 more points for the All Blacks. And I'll tell you, I didn't think Chicago was that much of a haven for Kiwi residents, but they have turned out in force here at Soldier Field. Attendance expected in excess of 60,000. Brian, this thing has been sold out for a long time, and dare I say, it seems like there are more All Blacks jersey in the audience than there are for Team USA. So the 2-point conversion coming from Aaron Cruden.
Cruden a bit off the mark.
Yep. Well, speaking of all the All Blacks that are in attendance here at Soldier Field, let's check in with Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, you mentioned the 61,000 here. I think a few of them are All Blacks. In fact, they brought 300 of their best fans with them. Some of those people bought their tickets 10 months ago to come on this tour and paid as much as $20,000 a person to go on this entire tour with them. And there are a lot of fans here having a lot of fun, as you can tell. The New Zealanders, as you mentioned, Todd, very robust here in Chicago today.
Well, we heard about this matchup last year, Brian. I remember we were thinking about, boy, it's going to be in November in Soldier Field. Wouldn't it be great if there was a little bit of snow dropping down against the contrast of the All Blacks jerseys? And we did have it yesterday, but today the skies have cleared. The sun is out. It is still relatively chilly, right around 40 degrees. And the Americans now catching a break on the Kiwi side of the field.
Yeah, turnover here and going forward. And they got to put something together here.
Tua Samoa getting some help there, trying to push it forward. Offense being triggered to the short side of Kiwis. Just seem to find the ball, and they seem to get enough guys there to shut down any attack the Americans can mount.
Well, and you can see the approach to contact. Watch an American take the ball into contact. Are they looking for the next pass? Does a guy like Eric Fry expect the ball to be coming?
Oof. Hard tackle as Corey Jane is taken down on Soldier Field.
Big pass, that's dangerous actually.
Bounces luckily into the hands of an Eagle, because there were 3 All Blacks ready to pounce on that and take it in for another try and 5 points.
Well, you talk about a high-risk throw-in from Scott Lavala. I don't know what he was thinking.
Play on, quick throw in, play on.
Flag goes up. Craig Jobert says play on. And now they've got numbers.
Siddle.
Sonny Bill. Oh my, what a cutback. That was Walter Payton-esque.
Well, it looked like Siddle gave up. He had a defender inside him. Now, take a look at the end of this. Siddle chasing Sonny Bill. And right here, he takes off the gas. He goes, but he's got a defender right there in Manoa, and he's got to stay connected.
Two Americans collide on this play, and it's off to the races and 5 more points for Sonny Bill Williams, his second try of the match as we approach the 30-minute mark. Remember, 40-minute halves in rugby 15s.
You got to get your feet under you at the tackle, and I'm not suggesting that Manoa can keep up with Sonny Bill step for step, but you got to break down there and get the footwork right. And there is just a look at a very athletic body there. You see the tree trunk legs on Sonny Bill. He's such a tough customer to bring down. He's had so much success internationally, not just rugby union with the All Blacks and with Super Rugby. He's been able to just transfer his skills naturally into Australia to be a star in rugby league. He's a 6-time heavyweight boxing champion. He just seems to be able to do it all.
Final 10 minutes of the first half. 8-6 is our score right now, as the conversion is up and good for the All Blacks, and they got to find a way to get a stop, Brian, and get back to that ball possession that they had in the first 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, and they were playing with so much composure, and they just seem to have lost a little bit of that, and now they're just chasing the game, and you don't want to be in that position. Folau checks in. And it looks like Brett Thompson has finished his afternoon for the United States.
All Blacks get up to a big lead. Do they sub out and bring in their reserve players? And our answer was, yeah, they probably will, but those reserve players are just as good as the ones that are starting. And again, another run on the outside. And for some reason, Corey Jane doesn't like what he sees, backs it out. Has support there, but the Americans able to cover this one in taking TJ Perenara to the ground.
Yeah, as you said, there's just no such thing as a second string or a B-side kind of All Black. They're all equally skilled, amazing rugby players, all in their own rights.
Corey Jane, number 14, getting up slowly for the All Blacks, so possibly hurting himself on that last run. And again, numbers on the outside, not sure tackling, and the offload there coming from Charles Pitau.
Well, this is amazing. It's the 32nd minute of this game, and we're going to see finally our first scrum.
So Pitau on that offload, scrum coming, and we'll give you a chance to listen into the commands coming from our referee, Craig Jobert of South Africa.
You give us stability, yes. Right, there's the mark. Nice and stable on set.
You see Samu Manoa has gone to the number 8 position.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Stand up. Let's get them up. Come this way, please. Nice and high, please. Crouch. Bind. Set.
So the ball is fed in on the first scrum by the Americans, and now it's anyone's ball. Salvia takes it in for another 5 for the Kiwis.
Well, you got to win your own scrummage. United States with the put in here, but a quick strike back by the All Blacks pushes the scrum backwards of the United States, able to get that ball under their own feet. A quick flick by Kieran Reid out to Julian Savea.
Look at this. Kieran Reid, the captain, just picks it clean.
One of the best strike rates in the game of rugby worldwide, Julian Savea.
Just 24 years of age out of Wellington. A lot of people down in that part of the world feel this guy is just, the upside is incredible.
Yeah, a lot of comparisons made between him and Jonah Lomu, the famous All Black winger, and kind of not a fair comparison. I mean, Savea's got some great skills, perhaps a better kicking game, but there is only one Jonah Lomu.
Right now it's a 43-6 lopsided affair going the way of the All Blacks of New Zealand. Team USA's points coming by way of 2 penalty kicks. There's their 6 points, 3 points apiece. So the Americans have yet to put a try up in their 3 matches against the All Blacks as of yet, and now they're down to the final 4 minutes and 55 seconds to get one done here in the first half.
Well, let's put this game in a little bit of perspective.
The reigning world champions taking it to Team USA 43-6, and here's the kickoff, and again the Kiwis control it. Opportunity, and once again this maul just plowing forward. We check in down in the field with Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, Team USA will need a monumental comeback. If they'll do it, they'll have to do it without Danny Barrett. Behind that jacket he has on is a cast. They think he has a broken right hand, so he will be out for the remainder of this match.
It's difficult for Danny Barrett. A tough loss for Team USA. The young man that played his college ball at California, won a few national championships there. And how big of a blow is that to the team, Brian?
Well, just, you know, and it happened a few minutes into the game. It looked like where that first try was scored, and disappointing on the day, especially because this is such a monumental event to be able to play against the All Blacks at a sold-out home field here in the United States.
Todd Clever, the captain, gets the ball back for Team USA. They cross into Kiwi territory.
They got to be able to stretch right there, running into a double tackle. Instead,
it's quickly trying to regroup, coming up on 37 minutes of this 40-minute half.
Be great for the United States to be able to put some more points on the board before the halftime.
Clever, the team captain, fighting forward for extra yardage. Nice clean out by the Americans.
Good run by Folau Nua in as a replacement for Brett Thompson.
Nua once again with the ball, tries a dummy, and once again the discipline of the All Blacks on their tackling is just so sure.
Well, they've just been through it. I mean, you know, we talked about the difference, why this is the best team in the world. Clever takes the offload, but a knock on.
So the with it. Man wasn't taken to the ground, so it's play on.
Yeah,
Scully, he's going to fight for every inch.
Brian, is it just a matter of time, or does something have to change philosophically for Team USA to start being ranked among the top teams in the world?
Well, what they need is they need opportunities for young people to play rugby. Just like the All Blacks, you grow up, you have a rugby ball in your hand in the cradle. And until that becomes commonplace in the U.S., it's not going to happen for the Americans as well. A nice offload there by Seamus Kelly. Clever trying to get something done before the halftime. No, it's a bit harsh. He had laid that ball back. I think it was a bit of a harsh call. There's some blood on Blaine Scully. And no lack of heart coming from these Eagle players. Back to what we were talking about, though, Todd. In order for rugby to grow, you need events like this. And I think once people start to see this sport and how great it is, the amount of contact and how it flows, the ability to both be a tackler and a ball carrier, it's a continuous game. You get to see the faces and the grimace on a player as they take contact. It's building. Like I said in the pregame, the fastest growing sport in the United States is rugby, and this is the reason why. It's very compelling.
Blaine Scully on a blood timeout, the 26-year-old, originally from Sacramento, California, played at Cal, as we mentioned, 6'3", 220. One of the few times they'll stop play. As we were walking through Soldier Field the last couple days, they had their room specifically labeled suture room.
Sure. Got to have that. It used to be just staples on the sideline.
Line out goes to the All Blacks, and they control it. Now as we come up on less than 2 minutes to play in this one, actually a minute to go in this one, in the 40-minute halves, leading 43-6, and the All Blacks looking for much more. Open field running, bad sign if you're on defense, and numbers on the outside.
Great cover tackle by Blaine Scully.
And the tackle into touch, so a good break for Team USA.
Scully comes over, and that's one of the best wings in international rugby, and Scully shows why he's been such a top man at Leicester,
possibly
over in England.
That's
one of a handful of Americans making a living playing the sport, and Scully's all heart.
Yes.
This sport, you know, as a reflection, look at the stands packed with people, and this sport's growing, Todd. You take a look at what's coming down the road. You got the World Cup every year now, the Collegiate Rugby Championship done by NBC. I mean, it's
right. RCs in Philadelphia as the first half has come to a conclusion. 43-6. Remember, at one point it was 12-6, and then the All Blacks. The Americans get their first try against the All Blacks, or will the drought continue? We'll have more. It's halftime here in Chicago. All Blacks 43, Eagles 6. The International Rugby Classic is presented by AIG, the official insurance partner of the New Zealand All Blacks and USA Rugby. Back in Chicago, an absolute must, which we haven't done yet, is get a deep dish pizza. That is definitely on the to-do list. Before we get to the first half highlights, let's check in on the field with Marty Snyder.
I don't even see it. Good question, Blaine Scully's heart. How did you recover from the blood down here all the way to make that final tackle?
It was my job to make that tackle, so just have to get up. There's no breaks in this game, so you have to pick yourself up and look on to make the next play.
Clearly the score not what you want. How do you rebound and get back into this thing?
Well, you see how ruthless they are on their execution. So for us, we're just gonna have to play that play, focus on the next job. Scoreline's a scoreline, but continued improvement is probably our goal here.
Thanks, Blaine.
Thanks.
Todd
Harris, Brian Hightower, first half is complete. Brian, we knew it was going to be difficult for the Americans to get offense going, but what do they need to do, and what has been the biggest impression you saw?
Well, I think as Scully said, it's all about execution right now, and they're kind of chasing the game right now. They've broken down as far as their shape is concerned. What they need to do is stop putting the ball on the ground. As soon as they do, the All Blacks are going to make you pay for any mistake. They can get some phases going. The U.S. has to play confidently and come up for 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's been an impressive first half for the All Blacks and their fans. Nearly 60,000 plus here, a sellout at Soldier Field, and it has been a busy week for the All Blacks since they landed here in Chicago. The first All Blacks squad was selected back in 1884, and since then, they have absolutely dominated the sport. They are the reigning World Cup champions, winning 2 of the last 7 tournaments. And the highest scoring squad, putting up more than 2,000 points. And most importantly, they have taken care of business on the pitch against their arch rivals, the Aussies. Their busy week began last Sunday as the All Blacks arrived at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, as they and their fans made their way through the massive airport into the city proper. Once settled Monday, it was all about practice and temperatures much warmer than they were today. Then they took their show to the inner city, working with some inner city rugby programs.
1, 2, 3,
On Tuesday, the All Blacks met the Black Hawks.
The All Blacks play against the USA.
And then the All Blacks were treated to a rendition of the haka from some locals here in Chicago. Inside the locker room of the All Blacks as they get ready for the second half. They have the lead 43-6 on Team USA.
A perfect all-around rugby player would have to start with a strong mindset.
They have a lot of integrity.
Respect for yourself, respect for your teammates.
Someone to put themselves in front of harm's way and to say a sacrifice.
Tough enough to last 80 minutes.
Todd Clever.
It is an absolute brutal game as you look down upon Soldier Field. 43-6 is the score at halftime. As we take a look at the highlights from the first half, and Brian, you look at the first 10 minutes, this was a 12-6 matchup, and then unfortunately after the haka was laid down, the floodgates, the proverbial offensive floodgates of the All Blacks really came through.
Yeah, and a lot of quick ball, and the United States not very good in transition defense there, and they just get stretched. There were a few points that came off the boot of Adam Siddle there. Go through. And now it's just 5-3 with 10 minutes into this game, and it's starting to seem like it's going to be close. But then the All Blacks just start to operate. And look how they pass it in tight spaces here. Great job by Israel Dag to put away Corey Jane, and the show and the go, and he's done that around the world. And they just keep eating you up. And watch the pass that goes behind. It eats up a few defenders. You got to stay honest. And then, again, passing in tight spaces. Watch the offload there from Trotty to Sonny Bill. And he's happy about being back with this All Blacks team. And right now, it is rolling downhill for the men from New Zealand.
43-6 as we are getting set for the second half of play, and look inside the locker room of the All Blacks as they regroup. The second half is just 2 minutes away. We'll have that for you when we return to Soldier Field. This is the International Rugby Classic presented by AIG on NBC. Back inside Soldier Field, normally the home for the Chicago Bears of the NFL, and this gives you an idea of just how big the rugby field is compared to an NFL football field. Brian, people say, oh, you know, it's only 40-minute halves, you got 15 guys, but it's a running clock. You are playing offense and quickly switching to defense. You're getting tackled, then you're doing the tackling.
Yeah, and one of the things about this field is you can actually see the football field in dark green that's been painted over, and how much bigger the rugby field is, and it's an absolute grind. There's a good look at one of the sidelines there.
Yeah, it is quite a bit wider and a bit longer as they have painted over the NFL logo, and the Bears, who are kind enough to loan the stadium to the USA Eagles and the New Zealand All Blacks. And for the All Blacks, this is really just part of their northern tour. They leave the United States tomorrow, then it's off to England for a matchup on the 9th, Scotland on the 16th, and Wales on the 23rd before they return back to New Zealand, where I was told today by some of the good folks from down under that the temperature there is right around 80, 84 degrees today in Auckland.
A little bit different. Well, one of the interesting statistics from the first half, Todd, the United States had most of the possession, 63% of the possession. New Zealand only with 37% of it, and that is how clinical
they would be in this game. As it stands now, they're down 43-6. You saw Adam Siddle there on the open field run, slip and fall on the turf. Americans maintaining possession, Brian, but they've got it.
First mistake there, and Hayden Smith goes to lay that ball backwards. Instead, it bounces forward. It's going to be a scrum with the New Zealand put in here.
DJ Perinar there walking off with the ball.
Yeah, you wonder how many subs you're going to see in the second half from the New Zealand All Blacks. Set to make his return to international rugby, Dan Carter, the iconic fly half, with 100 international caps. If he's going to play in England next week for New Zealand, he's got to get some time on the field today. And there's one man waiting in the wings who's never been capped for New Zealand, and that's Augustin Pulu.
Bind! Set! Stay close here, 9. Yep. Fine.
Oh, beautiful little chip kick.
Wow, perfect bounce. Sonny Bill Williams right up the middle for 5.
Well, that ball had to have gone forward. Yep, forward pass. Referee saw it. He's got it called right. You know, not all the breaks can go New Zealand's way today, and Craig Joubert sees the forward pass from the hand of Charles Piutau. But look at this skill set by Aaron Cruden. Such a deft little touch. That's Julian Savea. Check that with the pass and goes forward to Sonny Bill, who is going in for his second. Not so fast, Sonny Bill.
So instead of 5 points for the All Blacks, they'll come back out. We have an opportunity for yet another scrum, and we'll let you listen into the commands, courtesy of our referee, Craig Joubert.
A lot of pressure on the U.S. scrum in the first scrum of the game.
Bind!
They got to win their own ball.
Set! Stay close, 9. Stay close.
Yeah, that ball's got to come out now. It does.
Quick offload, and it was Andrew Suniula there on the spot, but also 3 other All Blacks there to take him to the ground.
Careful, careful.
High off the boot of Adam Siddle there. Now this wind definitely has an effect on some of those higher box kicks, and that's not a very good one from the boot of Adam Siddle.
Mark. Call your boys. Call your boys. Yep. Back. Hey, oh, free kick if you don't move. Yeah, please.
And Kieran Reid goes down on the knee.
He's doing a great job of taking the meter. Yeah. Can you just get all the rest of the boys?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Sweet, thanks, bro.
The politeness in such a brutal...
Well, not only that, but you don't talk to the referee in this game. And if you say something disparaging to the referee, it's going to cost you either a penalty or you're going to sit down for 10 minutes and play a man down, get a yellow card. And it'd be great if other sports around the world could take this lesson from rugby. You don't disrespect the referee. Can you imagine if that happened in every game? If you question the ref, then you get a penalty against you. And that's the way I think it should be.
Joubert talking to his AR assistant referee, so we're back to a line out for the Kiwis. It'll be triggered by Kevin Melamu.
Fine.
Has to travel right down the middle of the tunnel, and you heard the referee say fine, so Kiwis able to do that, and once again they go into this situation in the maul where they just push the ball forward with all that mass. Nice clean out there, and here they are off and running again with big number 3, Charlie.
Referee playing a penalty advantage. New Zealand knows this. They'll take their chances.
Advantage over. Roll away, White. New advantage.
The referee's got one.
Oh, picked cleanly.
Well, that's unfortunate too, because the referee had the U.S.
Number 3, falling over, slowing the ball down.
And this penalty is going to go against Olive Khalifi.
Look at that. Off to the races.
But if you go back, what happened there was Olive Khalifi lies on the wrong side of the ruck and doesn't roll away quickly enough and gets a penalty for it. If you've been wondering about the ruck area, what happens after the tackle all day, every time a tackle is made, it's an The object of the game is once you're tackled to lay the ball back, and here's a good look at number 1, Moody.
Todd Clever, the man that was injured there.
And you can see number 3 right there, Khalifi. He's on the wrong side of the ball, and he's trying to get away. I think it's a harsh call by the referee, and I don't really understand it.
So basically offsides by Olive, gives the ball back, and it's another line out. Very difficult situation now for the Americans to try to defend this. They're going to go right up the middle for another try. Joe Moody does the honors for New Zealand, and that'll bump up 5 more points. 48-6 now.
And watch this. Has to run through, and that's just recognition. Again, time on the job.
Remind me where I saw that move before.
Recognizing the patterns, and sometimes you just have a feel for these things. The more you play, you just feel that space.
Moody goes 6'2", 260. The man that was in charge of stopping him was Falanua, 6 feet 197. So nearly 70 downs advantage to Moody, and he gets the 5 points, and now the conversion. This is worth 2 points. And he pushes it right.
Well, you notice, Todd, if you look around the stands, nobody's leaving yet. And the reason is because it's such a rare treat to get a chance to see the All Blacks play. It's a festive atmosphere. People respect the game here, and they know that what they're seeing is a clinical example of how to play this game at its highest level.
You think if the putting on their display here at Soldier Field, the home of the Chicago Bears, and right now Team USA, the Eagles, looking for some kind of break, looking for that all-elusive first try ever against the All Blacks. This is their 4th meeting, and so far no tries, the 5 points, and crossing that line as the All Blacks look to be kicking this one into touch, and they do.
They will, and they'll go for a regular line out here. You don't want to push the pace against the All Blacks.
Brian, we talked about when does New Zealand back off, because we have 3 very important matches coming up with England, Scotland, and Wales over the course of the next 3 weeks. And you look at how deep their roster is. There are 23 that are available today, and look at the guys that are coming off the bench. Names like Palou, Carter, Savia. They're just as good as the starters.
Oh yeah, there's no such thing, as I said before, as a second string All Black. They all earn the right to wear that black jersey, and there's so much tradition behind it. They'll never take their foot off the gas. They beat Japan 145-17 a few years ago. There's just no quit.
Here they come again on the attack, covering so much real estate. Looking for the offload is number 15, Israel Dag. And they'll trigger their offense again.
Yeah, behind a few dummy runners, a pass out wide. There always seem to be space to work into. The backhanded flick, it's always available.
The middle, missed tackle, and another 5 points. Well, it's Team USA certainly taking their lumps here in the second half as the score continues to go up. But Brian, you got to look at this. If you're the Team USA players, this is a learning experience. You got to realize you are going against the world's best.
Well, and again, everything about that particular phase of play, you got the ball available all the time, and it doesn't matter what number is on their backs. They're going to be able to distribute the ball. You saw that, just a microcosm. Siddle comes up on Charles Piutau, and he wraps him around the legs and puts him down. But Piutau doesn't care that his legs are wrapped up because the ball is in his hands, and he still makes it available. And it's been happening all day long, and that is what they're coached to do. And it's not that the U.S. isn't coached to do that.
Right.
It's, again, we go back to the childhood, the crib. Where's the rugby ball? Are you running around in
And the 2-point conversion, no good. So it remains 53-6. Well, the All Blacks are going to kick this off again. Team USA in the process of licking their wounds. We've got an 80-minute match, so we've got a lot of rugby still to play with the world's best showing us exactly why they are the reigning world champions. Go into the minds of Team USA and their coach. What are you telling your players? What do you need to do to not only get some momentum going, but just get that try?
Well, you just got to keep playing rugby, and there's nothing to lose right now. As we see Aaron Crudens come off the field, and in his place, Dan Carter. Dan Carter wearing number 22, and you're witnessing greatness on the field. He hasn't played a game of international rugby since last November against England. He got hurt in that game, been struggling.
We check in on the field and Marty Snyder.
Well, Todd, as Brian was just talking about, Dan Carter finally back on the field a year out after breaking his leg. And earlier this week, Steve Hansen, the coach, said, you know, I want to see 30 minutes from him. That's what I want. If he shows me he is physically ready to keep playing, I'll let him play next week in England. So a big 30 minutes here for one of the most famous rugby players in the world, Todd.
So Carter on the field wearing the number 22. The 32-year-old goes 5'10", 212 out of Canterbury.
Hand in the scrum. Far side. Clearly a hand pushed it back.
And again, the Americans unable to catch a break, an infraction. They have to back off the 10 meters, and the All Blacks will step up and kick this one to the touch, advancing the ball into USA territory.
You're not allowed to use your hand to push the ball back in the scrum, and that's what Craig Joubert thinks he saw. Did come shooting back pretty fast in the tunnel there.
Boy, you see so many as you look in the stands here, the 60,000, a sellout crowd here at Soldier Field. So many fans here that hail from the USA, but they are wearing the All Black jersey today. And Brian, you think about the most famous jerseys in the world of sport. All Blacks certainly at the top of that list. Maybe the Yankee pinstripes a close second.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if it's a close second. I mean, you know, there are parts of the world that you can go to with the Yankee jersey on, and you might not recognize it, but I mean, you go to every corner of the globe. You go to the South Islands. You go to anywhere in Asia, and you're gonna be able to find All Black jerseys there. It really is the most iconic brand, I think, in sport. We're a little sheltered here in the U.S. maybe because of you know, the exposure we get to some of the bigger sports, but everybody knows who the All Blacks are.
And we will listen in on the scrum commands.
Crouch. Stand up.
Craig Joubert sounds
like a scolding father.
Yeah. Get up.
I'm going to put some pressure on you because it worked well till you got here. So you're just going to get up. Yeah.
He's taking a crack there at Ben Franks.
Head and shoulders up, please.
Who's come in for Joe Moody.
Crouch.
This ball needs to work its way back quickly.
Bind.
Into the hands of Samu Manoa.
Ball has to be fed out, as we saw earlier, by the feet. And as the scrum breaks down,
you have the obligation to try to keep the scrum up and not fall like that. And that's just a lot of pressure coming down on that Eagle scrum. And
Kieran, you're being subbed, bud.
Watch them get driven here. You know, it's just like having roller skates on, and they're digging all they can. And again, this is just experience.
Who's captain? Looks like you. Yeah.
Two guys that know each other very well. Craig Joubert was the referee for the World Championships. New Zealand part of that as they won the World Cup. And Dan Carter now is going to kick this one into touch for the Kiwis. Brian, you venture a guess of how many NFL scouts are possibly watching this broadcast and saying that guy could certainly help our squad out on Sundays.
Well, the winger who started for the All Blacks, Corey Jane, during an interview had mentioned that
use it once.
Once again, this maul, the ball can be held up, and you find out which team has more power. And it's once again the All Blacks holding on to it. As we get a good look at Dan Carter, tries the dummy fake and pays the price and taken down hard by Team USA.
And just look at the skills. You know, the All Blacks went to a training on Tuesday. Not a single ball landed on the ground during the entire 2-hour training. You talk about pride in your work and doing the little things right. It's just what they do. And that ball looked like it went forward from the hand of Sonny Bill. It did indeed. And it'll be a scrum to the United States. And hopefully they can maintain their feet on this scrum. It is a hard day at the office. And they knew it was going to be, Todd.
Right.
I mean, everybody to a man knew that this would be the toughest game that they've ever played in their life.
Sonny Bill, they're asking to come out.
You know, to their credit, these Eagles, a lot of them amateur players. We saw the piece on Mike Petrie. He's a teacher. He's a father. You know, he's not to the All Blacks. You know, these guys are all making 6 figures, a cushy salary, and they're pros. They get high quality matches every week. And the hope is, I think, in the circles that are around Chicago this weekend, is that this event inspires professional rugby in the United States, that it has to go somewhere from here. There has to be a professional league so that one day there can be a U.S. team that competes on an American rugby field that's packed to the rafters, just like Soldier Field, and the game is much more competitive. And in order to do that, the United States has to have players playing professionally.
I'll tell you what, if you want to treat yourself to a great weekend, venture on out to Vegas in the first part of the year, and the World Sevens takes place at Sam Boyd Stadium. And then, of course, later in the year in Philadelphia at PPL Park, you've got the Collegiate Rugby Sevens, which is a fantastic event as well.
And not to mention the Varsity Cup and Collegiate Rugby, and NBC putting a lot of cachet behind this sport. And I think when people watch it, it's compelling.
Varsity Cup this year was a fantastic matchup with the University of California. The Golden Bears, a perennial powerhouse, going up against BYU, and the mighty Cougars, I'm proud to say, came out on top of that one.
Yeah, and a great game in college rugby building as well. And that's one of the positive signs about the growth of this sport, is where it's growing. It's growing in the youth level. It's growing at the collegiate level. You don't compete with the All Blacks overnight, but hopefully this will spark a bit of a revolution. Things getting a little sloppy out there when Dan Carter came onto the scene.
Oh, Carter free up the middle. This is dangerous. Beautiful offload. Numbers on the outside, and it'll be Israel Dag taking it in for the 5.
Yes.
Beautiful passing and a great job of penetrating the defense by Dan. So 5 more points put up on the board by the All Blacks. Team USA just cannot get any momentum going. They controlled the ball much of the first 10 minutes of this one, but since then it has been all Kiwis.
Thank you. Cheers.
Dan Carter, the person that's at the All Blacks.
So Dan Carter will go for the 2-point conversion at a very tricky angle, but the wind has died down. As we talked about the start of this matchup, one of the things that really everyone was looking forward to, whether you were a Kiwi fan or American, was the haka. We had a chance to see it coming in all shapes and sizes. We have the little kids from down under in New Zealand putting their version on it, as well as the All Blacks, who did it here at Soldier Field. And it was, you know, bro, I'm going to let you be the judge of this one. Which one did you like better, the youngsters version, or did you like the professionals version? And speaking of professional, Dan Carter splits the uprights for 2 more points. And here it is. Nagati Toa tribe, courtesy of those youngsters. You talk about their IQ for rugby. Those kids, 4 and 5 years old, they're already perfecting their haka.
A pretty good one, too. I mean, I just kind of say dead heat, really.
That youngster in the middle of the screen put the fear into you. While we have a short break, we check in with Marty Snyder, who's up in the stands with a collegiate VIP.
Yes, indeed. That would be Salty Thompson, his son Brett Thompson, one of the Team USA Eagles. And Salty, you've certainly... Would you not agree with that?
No, I think there's a massive gap between #1 and where we are in the world. But for those people that really understand the game, there's components to this game where we're actually doing fairly well. We play, what, 6 internationals a year compared to this team that's coming off a championship win in the Southern Hemisphere. And they're obviously a very, very good All Black team, as they've proven in the last 4 years.
He actually told me a moment ago, Todd, he thinks this is the best.
Through, and the athletes that have come through this. Of course, Salty Thompson, as Marty pointed out, is the father of Brett Thompson, who plays collegiate rugby at Arizona, heavily involved with that program, and they seem to be always in the mix when we get to the collegiate rugby championships in Philadelphia, that you can see on NBC and NBCSN later this year.
Yeah, and had to see his son leaving the field under injury earlier. Oh, Perinara, great silky skills once again.
Run away, nice, 16.
But you notice when you watch the All Blacks play, there's always someone running in support. There's always that opportunity to offload if you need to, or give them the dummy and take it in yourself.
Well, for those of you who follow football and you ever seen Peyton Manning or Tom Brady throw a pass to somebody before they even turn for it, you know, that's exactly what these All Blacks are doing. They will put the ball in a space where they know somebody is running. They might not even be looking for it, and sometimes the ball will just seem to manifest itself right. For your entire lives. But these guys are pretty well drilled, and as Salty Thompson mentioned in the interview, these guys are coming off matches against South Africa, Australia, Argentina. You know, they've been together for quite some time. These Eagles haven't been together since June, and they're not going to get together again until next June. So, you know, that whole amateur status is working against them. As we see number 21 there, that is Shalom Suniula in for Mike Petrie, who takes his curtain.
Experience against the world's best.
No.
Also making his first appearance for the All Blacks, a notable day for Augustine Pulu, that halfback wearing the number 21 jersey. And you talk about a monumental day.
A very difficult situation now for Team USA is defending this team that passes and runs so well, so close to the try-zone.
Well, and they find seams as well. The little spaces, what we call the half gap, they seem to be able to squeeze forward in places where there doesn't seem to be any room.
16 watts. Hey, caught it.
Now, as long as number 4, Jeremy Thrush, there is connected to the rest of his team, he's allowed to have the ball behind them. Oh, there's a flick again. Victor Vito looks like he's about to score. Pulu wants one on his first cap. Denied at the line.
Didn't survive the cleanouts.
Trying to push it across. Remember, the ball, if it crosses the line, that's one thing. It has to have downward pressure and a big hit. So the Americans with a big stand. And the whistle blows the play dead as the Eagles had a 3-on-1 situation, and it's coming back.
Yeah, it's Chris Wiles comes up in defense and hits the ball. Technically, it's a knock-on. gathers it up, and it would have really brought this house down. You see Wiles comes up and takes a chance.
So the knock-on brings it back inside the 22-meter mark, and it'll be yet another scrum. This one again triggered by the All Blacks.
Liam Messam wearing the number 20 also checked in for the All Blacks. He's the one who led the haka.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Stay up here, stay up, stay up, stay up.
So Pulu feeds it down the middle. The scrum collapses, and picked cleanly. Victor Vito, man on the spot.
High tackle coming against Manoa there.
Knocking on the door once again.
One side your what?
Oh, Sam Kane.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's the heir apparent to Richie McCaw. He's a youngster, Sam Kane. Watching the best player in the world wearing the number 7 jersey, but the benefit for him of McCaw getting a rest this weekend is he finally gets to be in the starting 15, and he's kind of built in that same mold as Richie McCaw, just super fast on his feet, great at the breakdown, and just a sidestep there, great stability.
Sam Kane from the Bay of Plenty, 6'2", 227 pounds with some nifty footwork there inside the 5-meter mark, able to put it across, and 5 more points go the way of the All Blacks.
And you got to be happy too if you are Steve Hansen and looking around at some of the talent that you get to test out today. Guys like Sam Kane, Patrick Tuipulotu, 6'6", 265, only 21 years old, wearing that number 5 jersey. Youngsters in the backs. You get to test Sonny Bill. Carter gets to come back onto the field.
And in one 67-6 as we check in with Marty Snyder, who's standing by with the captains of today's All Black squad.
Yeah, the All Blacks have allowed us on the bench, hanging out with Kieran Reid. And how about this performance by your team? You get to evaluate some young players as well, Kieran.
Yeah, look, I thought we've played really well. You know, our skill level's been pretty high. I don't think there's been much drop balls from either side, really, in the game. So, yeah, it's been great from us so far. Hopefully we can finish it off.
When I sat down, you said the atmosphere. Wow, has it kind of impressed you?
Yeah, it's been unreal. It started when you ran out, and the anthem was awesome. It was certainly a thing I remember for a long time. So, no, I really enjoyed it.
It's 84 degrees in Auckland today. It's a little bit chilly for you guys right now.
Mate, when you get out on the field, it's fine. I'm sure it's pretty cold when you're sitting on the bench, but no, it's been nice. Lucky the wind's really died down, so it's a great atmosphere, and the weather's held out.
I know that the score is clearly lopsided, but what have you seen from the Eagles that maybe you see glimmers of hope there?
I thought when they've had their chance with the ball, they've really attacked us strongly. They carry really hard. Yeah, I think we've started it really well. We haven't played for a couple of weeks, and a lot of these guys haven't played in this jersey, for a long time. So, really happy with how we've been going.
Todd, as you can see the play right in front of us on the bench, so he's kind of watching the play and trying to do the interview at the same time.
The captain, Kieran Reid, and our thanks to the All Blacks for letting Marty sit down there. Brian, I don't know if Marty realizes what an honor it is. He's sitting on the bench with the All Blacks. How many people can say they sat on the bench with the All Blacks?
Yeah, that's pretty good real estate there for Marty. I think that's a pretty hot ticket. A lot of people in this stadium, probably about 60,000 people, would like to have the seat that Marty just had.
Sit next to Kieran Reid and get a little play-by-play from the captain of the All Blacks. A lot of talent on that bench, as Kieran Reid told our Marty Snyder. They're a little rusty. They haven't played in a few weeks. It to the Americans here at Soldier Field, 67-6 is the score. We've got just over 10 minutes to play in this one, and some of the reserves are coming in now. Liam Messam, Pulu, Carter Savia. When you're bringing names like that in, it's kind of like you're subbing in, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, and David Robinson in for the dream team.
Yeah, they're so talented, and 33 men in their squad here. A great little kick laid down, and can it be collected?
Just kicked away, and now it is off to the races. And again, a man there to offload. All Blacks picking their way through the defense. Ryan Crotty with the ball, and he dumps it off to number 21, Pulu.
Well, and that's how quickly things can turn on you. Now space on the outside. Great tackle by Todd Clever. Well, that's a rare miss.
They're going to bring it back.
Yeah, it's obstruction. Melamu runs into his own player. That's a rare gift for any international hooker to be able to scamper unobstructed about 30 meters down the field. But watch here. Piatau tackled by Clever onto Melamu. But he runs into Liam Messam on the way.
And Messam inadvertently runs as a blocker for the runner, so the ball will go over to the Americans. No try awarded for the All Blacks as we are under 10 minutes to play. If you're looking for a monstrous comeback like the one we saw last summer in San Francisco when the Americans came back against New Zealand in the America's Cup, which you saw on NBCSN, this probably not going to happen. Just not enough time for them to get back in this one down 67-6.
No, it's and if that's the equivalent, then it's it's like this Kiwi team has an extra sail on their boat.
Well, while we've been given access down on the field in the final 10 minutes, Marty Snyder's made his way over to Team USA and the Eagles and their big man, Phil Thiel.
Yeah, Todd, hanging out with Phil Thiel, and I know the score's not what you wanted, but what do you take away that are positives from the day?
The biggest thing, I think that when we had our moments where we did things right, where we did execute correctly, I mean, obviously the scoreline doesn't show that, but we had some good moments. We had some good hits, some good tackles. We had some good ball in the first half there, and I think that there's a lot to take away from a learning experience point from this game.
Is it just so tough because you are all amateurs and you only really came together on Monday to practice for this?
Well, we do have a mix of pros and amateurs on the side. I mean, when you're playing a team like the All Blacks, I mean, they play together so well. They do everything really well, and it is very difficult. But like I said, there's a lot to learn from this, and there's great we can go.
All right, and Phil may be heading into the match here. Todd.
Savia picks up the ball, and again, the All Blacks getting organized. Brian showing the patience. If it's not there with the home run ball, they have no problem reversing the field, switching it to the other side, and just picking their spots.
Well, in the last couple minutes, we've seen this twice. A little bit of a kick downfield, and instead of the U.S. catching it, the All Blacks do, and they turn it around. They go back and march 80 meters down the field. And again, Tom Coolican had the ball on the corner, chips it forward because he didn't have any support with him, can't keep it in touch. And then it gets collected by the All Blacks, and now they're marching.
No problem passing or tackling in close quarters. They look to be
find the handle.
How about these hits? This is in slow motion.
Yeah, there's Tom Coolican, and that's little Augustine Pulu. And you can see the look on his face, just written all over his face. That's a great hit by Pulu, and Tom Coolican took a while to get up from that one.
Coolican goes 6'1", 231, and he was absolutely just drilled into touch. That'll knock a few molars loose as we've got another player down on the field here, and this is obstructing the play, so they will stop play here at Soldier Field as we come up on 73 minutes of the 80 minutes in this matchup. It's 67-6. New Zealand on top of the Americans in this amazing international rugby classic presented by AIG. Todd Harris. Earlier in the broadcast, how yesterday during walkthrough we had snow, we had sleet, we had rain, heavy winds. Today, though, it's just cold and clear, and this guy still believes.
He's wondering, where's the snow? He wants to. He thinks this is a nice day, and he's ready for it. Look at that.
Our good friends here in Chicago were telling us just 2 or 3 days ago it was 75 degrees. It was very comfortable. Folks were out. Nature came in and absolutely just smacked everyone upside the head. The waves that were coming up on Lakeshore Drive, and the hardy fans that made the trip from Auckland it doesn't seem to bother them at all. Of course, their team is on top 67-6 as we check in one more time with Marty.
Well, the All Blacks, Todd, have been busy since they've been here in Chicago. Tuesday, they took in a Blackhawks game, which very few of them had seen hockey, as you might imagine. They also went to the Bears practice on Wednesday, and the coaching staffs really spent a lot of time together talking about how you manage a team, travel, all of that stuff. Went to a Bulls game last night. The one thing they didn't do, deep dish pizza. They were actually bought a little bit of deep dish pizza. The only guy willing to do it, Sonny Bill Williams. As he told me, hey, I've only been on the team for a couple of weeks. Why not? These guys, perfectly tuned athletes. So much so, Todd, they were unwilling to have a slice of deep dish pizza. I protest that personally, you know?
That is the same discipline shown by Brian Hightower. Would not partake of the deep dish pizza. Now, our producer, David Gibson, he has no problem with that. But Brian Hightower said no, not until the game is over.
Exactly. I'm not going to eat any deep dish. Not before the game.
I'll tell you what a form of temptation. This is one of the great food towns in all of North America.
Well, one of the things that you can't see from this team, it's a team that's got humility that's embedded in its culture. And you're talking to some of these guys earlier on in the week, you know, they'll say Richie McCaw, Dan Carter, they're the guys who grab the broom at the end of a game, and they sweep out the locker room. Dan Carter famously, you know, he's got 100 caps. He's the most iconic man in rugby in New Zealand, if not the world. And he wouldn't even ride in the team bus while he was injured until he got renamed to the squad. There's that much respect for the black jersey and the tradition that it holds. And it's just infused throughout the team culture.
Set. They have advantage.
Pulu triggering the offense. One of the first rugby balls to hit the pitch in this matchup, and unfortunately an infraction of the U.S., and so the ball will remain with New Zealand.
A bit compared to the first half and the runaway and the mistakes that were paid for by the United States when New Zealand got their hands on the ball, it was just, you know, floodgates open.
Marty talked a little bit about some of the activities that the All Blacks took in this week in Chicago. Of course, the Blackhawks game, the Bulls game last night. Going to the Chicago Bears practice. Now, there's a coaching staff that I think might want to take a long, hard look at some of the athletes here that have come over to play for New Zealand. I mean, these guys are absolute physical specimens. We're talking about guys that are running around 6'4", 6'5", but they run like absolute gazelles at 230, 245 pounds.
Well, not only that, with all the questions and there have been a few NFL teams throughout the summer that have consulted American rugby teams. You know, notoriously, you know, Pete Carroll from the Seahawks, who brought in some rugby guys and said, how do you tackle and not have your head so exposed? You know, and it's a lot more about the leg work. And one of the best tackling teams in the world, this All Black team, you don't see them missing tackles.
Sure, open field tackling coming from the All Blacks. Now Team USA. Minutes to play in this one.
Well, the bench has been emptied for both teams now. Brody Retallick on the field. Messam, Carter, the Franks brothers.
Taken away. Blaine Scully strips that one away. And unfortunately, Craig Jobert is going to give it right back to the All Blacks.
Well, he's been calling offsides on the Eagles, and yeah, I'm not sure. It's a little bit of turnabout's fair play. The New Zealanders seem to be able to encroach on that offsides line all day long, and a little bit harsh against the Eagles here, just trying to put a performance together. And watch this. Scully says, I'll take that and that.
You were the arriving player. The tackler was the one who slowed the ball down.
So Jobert explained the call to Shalom Suniola on why he made the call. Damage done, though. We'll Soldier Field here in Chicago.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Use it. Play on.
Big hit. Man keeps running. The All Blacks threatening once again. This would be a great stand, Brian, if the Americans could somehow come away with a stop and pick up the ball.
Yeah, it would. And, you know, it's almost the end of the game. You can't imagine that the crowd's not going to give these guys a huge ovation.
Turnover is good.
They got it.
They turn the ball over. Now it should be a penalty against Franks there on the wrong side of the ball, and there's going to be some relief for the United States finally. Scully goes quickly.
Blaine Scully looks like he's playing rugby sevens back in college. A quick restart, and now the Americans. Can they get something? Can they get their first try against the All Blacks here in the waning moments at Soldier Field?
Well, they got a long way to go, but they've decided they're going to play rugby to end this game out. Now somebody needs to run a line off of Manoa. That's one of the differences between these two teams. He's been looking.
Play advantage, Black. Knock-on advantage.
So the knock-on comes, and that pretty much puts an end to the Americans' opportunity to score here. They play the advantage, and back come the All Blacks. Carter feeding off. Number 6, it's Vito back to 23, and that's how you do it. Savea puts the final touches on this one, and another try for the All Blacks.
Just a great loop there by Savea. Vito reads it so well. Carter sacrifices his body on the pass. Just classic execution. Watch this backdoor flick coming around the back here, and Savea unloads it initially to Carter, but stays involved. A day on a substitute bench for Savea, but I tell you what, there's no such thing as a second string All Black, and anytime these guys come in, they are going to make a significant impact.
Give you an idea of just where the All Blacks stand in the IRB World Rankings. This is last week. New Zealand out in front. South Africa, England, Australia, and Ireland. Those are your top 5 teams around the world, as according to the IRB World Rankings. And as we mentioned before, New Zealand on their way to Europe tomorrow, where they'll face off with England on the 9th of November, Scotland on the 16th, and then wrap things up on their Northern Tour on the 23rd against Wales and Cardiff.
And Carter's going to line this last one up, and time has expired on the clock. 80 minutes full time. Referee Craig Gibert likely going to blow his whistle for this one, as we see Carter textbook kick, and there's the end of the game. And a good day for the All Blacks, and a day that rugby has grown here in the United States despite the scoreline.
Standing ovation here at Soldier Field for both squads.
Well, you go back to the whole premise of this game. Get the best team in the world to come to our shores, fill a stadium, and show the world some rugby.
So the Americans are held scoreless in the second half. Final score 74-6. First 20 minutes relatively competitive, but as we talked about getting ready for this during our meetings and talking with both squads, it's just the depth of New Zealand and what they were able to bring in the second half, and their reserves, which really there are no reserves for the All Blacks. They're all 18 players, but just the depth absolutely just wore them down.
Well, you know, I think from the first 20 minutes, even though the score was a little bit tight, that first half really started to reveal the penalty that comes from putting the ball on the deck and making mistakes against this All Black team. And the United States just didn't have the resources on the day. There's some great players out there. There's no quit in these Eagles. There's just a skill level gap that is going to take a little bit of time to close.
Congratulations for all the players. They make their way through the line, and a lot of sore bodies out there. You see some of them bandaged up. Bang, that's just part of the game of rugby. But in the end, once again, the world's best show exactly why they are that. The All Blacks with the win, 74-6. We sit it down on the pitch, and Marty Snyder.
All Blacks.
Yeah, absolutely. First go around for the guys within this group to play the All Blacks.
you know, it's, we take that experience and we put it in our back pocket and we build on it, you know. There's a lot of things that didn't go our way, but, you know, a lot of good things we can build on.
Is it tough coming together with a short prep time like you guys have to play a team like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's a challenge that we face in and out every single tour. For the foreseeable future, it's not going to change for us. So we just got to continue taking that challenge head on, and hopefully improve from each and every tour.
You've got to take away some positives. What are they?
Well, you know, we didn't die until we didn't stop until the last whistle. We had a decent goal line stand there in the 75th minute, and we kept going, and. They're wonderful. Thank you to each and every one of you helping make rugby the best sport in America.
All right, the crowd never left, guys. 61,000 strong, Todd, cheering to the end.
Absolute sellout on a chilly day here in Chicago as the All Blacks go first to the south end zone to pay their respects to the fans. And Brian, it was an awesome sight to be down on the field with the All Blacks, the Americans out there warming up, and to look up in the stands and see it absolutely packed.
Historic day here for United States rugby and the dream come true for any Eagle.
And let's check back down on the field with Marty.
Todd Clever, the U.S. team captain, and what do you walk away with this match feeling, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, to reflect on this, I mean, it was a special day, but you got to respect your opponents, and if you give them a little room or if you make a mistake, they make you pay, as the game was shown. But I played the whole 80 minutes, so appreciate the fans, appreciate the All Blacks, and AIG for putting this thing whole together.
To be on a world stage like this,
and we'll play better rugby when we have more time together.
How critical was this in terms of building U.S. rugby?
Oh, it's great to get all the team together the whole time and we build up with the World Cup next year and playing against world-class opposition. So hopefully we have more opportunities and more time together so we can have venues like this.
You're a captain. You clearly were very focused before the game, but did you ever stop and take a moment to take all this atmosphere in?
Well, I'm taking it in now. I took it in during the Haka national anthems, and I'll soak it in one more time on the lap to thank the fans.
As he told me before the match, this is a once-in-a-lifetime. I'm going to enjoy it.
Todd Clever, the captain for Team USA, said it right when you play world-class opposition, and that's exactly what they got today. Brian, you were former captain of USA Eagles. Take us back to your time and how the sport has evolved here in the USA. They took a beating today. Of the game.
Well, I don't think I remember ever playing in front of a crowd bigger than 8,000, and that was about 15 years ago. But, you know, to see this stadium packed out and to see the fans of rugby here in Chicago and how this team was received, it's just amazing. And, you know, hopefully this signals the growth of the game continuing its trajectory.
Marty Snyder on the field with one of the game's very best.
Well, that would be Dan Carter, and Coach said he wanted to see 30 good minutes out of you. Did you give it to him?
Yeah, it's my first game for the All Blacks for the year, so absolutely stoked to get back out on the field, and you know, to play in front of a crowd like this was unreal. Absolutely loved it.
Was this atmosphere impressive even for you guys? You play in front of big crowds all the time.
Yeah, we do play in front of big crowds, but this was something special today. Just, you know, the national anthem, when I was singing, it was just so much noise, and you know, even 10, 15 minutes after the game, just seeing the crowd, they've hung around, still making lots of noise. So it's a historical game, and you know, I'm pretty happy to be a part of it.
To kick off your Northern tour with a match like this, how critical was it, and what did you learn about your team today?
Yeah, it's a really important game for us. Obviously, we've got a huge challenge against England next week over in London, so you know, it's important that we built on a couple of combinations. You know, we haven't played for a couple of weeks, so it was a perfect challenge, and you know, we got the result.
Your 101st career match on the international level, but were there some nerves because you hadn't played in a year for the All Blacks?
There was a lot of nerves actually. Yes, I've played 100 Test matches, and you know, to still have the butterflies before the game is good. I like it when I have you know, that nervous energy that I can use, and you know, just happy to get back out on the field, and I'll just look to build.
How important for the All Blacks to evaluate some young talent and try a few different things on the pitch as well?
Yeah, it's important. That's the strength of the side. We've got the experience, but the young guys that are coming through, they put their hand up week in, week out, and you know, there's a lot of competition, you know, for positions, and you know, just some of the tries today was unreal. You know, just the interaction play was impressive. So. It's good.
I want to ask you real quick, you've been around a lot of the All Black teams. Salty Thompson, who's a famous coach here in the U.S., said this may be the best All Black team ever. Do you agree with that?
that's what we're striving for. You know, we're wanting to do things that no teams have ever done before, and you know, on an occasion like this is a historical match, so we can tick that box. But you know, we're building, and you know, we're building towards next year, the World Cup. You know, we want to win back-to-back World Cups, so it's a challenge for us. So we just got to keep growing as a team.
First match back under his belt in a year. Dan Carter, happy guy today.
Thank you, Marty, and thank you to Dan Carter for taking time and speaking with us, one of the greats of the game. And two more of the very greats of the game as we take a look at the man of the match highlights presented by AIG. And how about Sonny Bill Williams? You know, this guy, absolute physical freak. We talk about NFL coaches looking for future talent. You've got to be looking at this guy because the way he can run touch with the ball today against the Americans.
Yeah, just a glimmer of his athleticism today, and a breakout player, the AIG man of the match.
Sonny Bill Williams, not many people caught him today on the pitch, but our Marty Snyder did, and they're both down on the pitch.
The man of the match, Sonny Bill Williams, and for a guy who's just come back, that's not a bad match, was it?
Yeah, first of all, it's just awesome to be back in this environment, such a professional environment, and you know, obviously, you know, on the scoreboard we dominated today, but it just comes down to our forwards. They laid the platform, and us pretty boys out wide got to, you know, got the benefits of it.
You pretty boys played pretty good match today. Did you guys learn something about yourself today, and did you make a statement in essence today with a match like this?
Oh, probably not a statement. I think we got a bit loose there. Still got a few things to work on, but in a game sense. But for me, it's just awesome to be back in the black jersey, and happy to have been able to do my part today.
For your first match back, did you expect to be this good?
I wasn't that good, mate. Like I said, you know, our forwards laid the platform, and we were just the benefactors of it.
He wasn't that good, but he did it in Chicago, one of his favorite towns. Sonny Bill Williams, player of the match, Todd.
Once again, our final score, 74-6. We'll be back with final thoughts when we return to Soldier Field and the International Rugby Classic presented by AIG.